Hi, everybody, and welcome to Principles of Marketing here at Tennessee Tech. This, of course, is the 100% online section of marketing, so there are no face-to-face meetings required. However, I will say that I do always attempt to make some form of video lecture for you each week so that you still get that in-person feel, especially with this first week. I always like to make a video lecture just so you know my expectations for the course and I can make sure that I answer any questions that you have on the front end about the class. So I'm going to take a moment here just to go through the syllabus, and we will, in addition to doing that, I'm going to show you just how to move around iLearn, some things to access, and talk about some just key points for the class as we get started. So um, first things first, I am not sure if you guys have had an online class before. I know for some of you that this may be the first time you've taken an online course. Others of you may be 100% online students, and whatever your situation may be, I want you to know that I'm fully dedicated to teaching you. I'm not one of those absentee instructors who never answer emails. I basically live on my email 24 hours a day, and I will answer your emails pretty quickly. Definitely within 24 hours, except on the weekends. It may take a little longer on the weekend, but I do try to make myself accessible to you pretty much 24/7, just in the event that you do have a question. So please use my Tennessee Tech email if you have a question. The iLearn email is good and I do have access to it, but the tech email comes directly to my phone and I can usually respond a little bit faster during the day if I'm teaching on campus or something of the like. So um, my email is mtharrison@tntech.edu, so feel free to shoot me an email there if you have any questions. This is an introductory marketing course, so we have students from all different majors that take principles of marketing, everything from healthcare administration to I've had a music major before, all kinds of stuff. So if you're a college business student, you obviously have to have principles of marketing, but in general, there are tons of people who take this course. The overall goal is just to get you to understand what marketing actually is, and in particular, we focus on understanding the 4 P's of marketing. So that's our goal for this semester. This is the textbook that we will be using. It has the granola bars here on the front. It will constantly make you hungry every time you look at the book if you weren't already. This is the 7th edition of the text, and it just came out like hot off the press. I believe towards the end of the spring semester. So that being said, I've been using Gruel and Levy's books for years, and I will say I've read through the 7th. I have used the 6th for the last couple of years, and there's not a huge difference between the 7th and the 6th edition of this text. However, the 7th edition is very expensive, and the 6th is not very expensive. So if you choose that you would like to purchase the 6th edition or rent the 6th edition instead because of cost, that's totally fine. Um, like I said before, I will make a weekly YouTube video lecture for you to watch about the chapter, and I always hit the key highlights that you should know from the chapter in that weekly YouTube video lecture. So I'll also notate any differences between the 6th and 7th edition in that lecture as well. So um, you'll have that if you need it. And the ISBN number is here for the 7th edition. So also, you have the option of purchasing either a physical copy or an ebook. I know a lot of students like ebooks now, so you don't have to carry around the real book. Um, Other people still like to highlight and write in the margins of your book, and that's okay too. So whatever floats your boat there, I'm fine either way. This shows you our grading structure for the class, and I'm going to go through each of these things in detail with you in just a moment, but basically, every week we're going to read either 1 or 2 chapters in Gruel and Levy's text, and most of the time it is just one week. However, we do have a lot of content to cover in a very short period of time, so there are some weeks where you have to have 2 chapters, but usually it's just one. Those chapters range from anywhere from 20 to 30 pages each. So basically, I always suggest reading the chapter first, watching the YouTube video lectures to make sure you've gotten all those important details from the chapter and make sure you understood it the way that it should be understood. Um, so do those things first, read the chapters, watch the weekly YouTube video lectures, and after that you have a quiz. And these quizzes are cumulative in nature. So for example, The first week we cover chapters 1 and 5, and the second week we move on to chapter 4. So during your second week, when you take your quiz on chapter 4, that quiz will include content from chapters 1, 5, and 4. And then on week 3, when you move on to chapter 6, that quiz will cover content from chapters 1, 5, 4, and 6. So it just continually builds with the goal that by the time you get to the end of the course, you're not only prepared for the final exam, but you also have really mastered a lot of this content that you will use in the real world as marketing. So that's the goal. So after you've read the chapter, you've watched the YouTube video lectures, and you have taken your quiz, you then have some form of written assignment to complete. And these assignments vary between marketing application responses, discussion boards, and case studies. And I kind of alternate between these three things to keep it varied for you. Luckily, all these three things do have the same requirements from you, though. And I'll talk in just a moment about what that means. Um, Here's the grading scale we'll be using for our course. Anything from 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, so on and so forth. I do accept late work, however, 10 points per day will be deducted for each late assignment. So for example, if you're 2 days late, that's 20 points off. If you're 3 days late, that's 30 points off, so on and so forth. So I do understand that things happen. I try to leave um, the course open and give you plenty of time to work on things. You also have the ability to work ahead. So if you know you have a really busy week coming up, you can go ahead and work ahead. Um, so that's available to you. We've already talked about the quizzes. One thing in common with the marketing application responses, the case studies, and the discussion boards that you'll be doing, the common thread with all three of these things, which kind of helps keep you organized, is you need to always include 2 chapter concepts. That's 2 bolded words from whatever chapter, okay? And you need at least 2 external sources, and one of those sources should be some kind of scholarly source, usually from a library database. And we'll talk about how to find those in just a second and what those are. Um, so your marketing application responses, you'll have a series of questions that are posed that you need to answer. Your case studies, you'll be given some kind of real world scenario or problem that you have to solve based on the information you've been given this week in your text. The discussion boards, I usually pose some type of interesting question for you to respond to and discuss with your classmates, engaging with that content a little further. So again, with all three of these assignments, you do need to include 2 chapter concepts and 2 external sources, at least one of which is scholarly in nature. Okay, the marketing application responses and the case studies we submit to the Dropbox. The discussion boards, you of course can type in the discussion board or upload a file as a PDF to the discussion board. You have an option of doing either one. In addition to these discussions, you should be reading your classmates' thoughts and responding to your classmates. That being said, your response should be more than just, hey, I agree with John. You need to actually reference some kind of chapter concept in your response as well and explain why he was correct or why he was incorrect in stating that theory XYZ supported his argument in this way. So that just kind of helps you to not only understand others' points of view, but also to go through and sort of work a little bit more in depth with the concepts that you're reading about and kind of work through those mentally to understand them. You do have a final exam at the end of the course. It is a departmental exam that we all use, the same exam. So please make sure that you are studying and preparing for that. It is a large portion of your grade. I will say that students who pay attention and study the materials that are provided do very well on the exam typically. So there's not a lot to worry about there as long as you're doing your assignments each week. Okay. I do ask that you upload your assignments as a PDF when possible. And if you're not sure how to do that, I have a tutorial video and some step-by-step instructions in the content tab of iLearn. And I've done that for you simply because I've had a lot of students in the past who try to submit like a Google Doc or a Pages file if you're using a Mac. And iLearn just doesn't do well with some of those and it makes it really hard to open. So if you submit a PDF, you're guaranteed that your classmates can read your files, I can read your files, there's never a problem. So I will show you how to do that in just a moment. Of course, if you have a disability and need any kind of accommodation, I'll be more than happy to provide that. Just let me know. This is a 100% online class, so there is no required on-ground meeting. I do ask that you check iLearn regularly. I do email out any important announcements that you need to know or any changes. I always let you know via email. Um, I recommend allotting around 3 to 10 hours per week, or excuse me, 8 to 10 hours per week to do well in the course. And now that includes everything. That is reading a chapter, that is listening to the YouTube video lectures, that is completing your quiz, doing your written assignment, responding to classmates. That's everything all inclusive. And for some people, they are able to do it more quickly, and other people take longer. So it just depends on your learning style. Some people learn more quickly than others, um, but hopefully it's flexible enough to work for you and your needs this semester. One last thing, I do always provide very individualized feedback for you, and I'm not one of those professors who takes forever to grade things. I grade every single week and try to get back to you as quickly as possible. I always provide detailed feedback on every assignment. I do read every word and give you some substantial feedback. So please make sure that you're reading that feedback. It does take a long time to write all of that, so please take the time to read it. Um, you can see at the end of our syllabus here, you do have a course calendar, and it tells you what you should be reading or doing first, and then you have assignments to complete for each week. And this is done for the whole semester for you, so you can go through and put all of these dates on your calendar and go ahead and prepare and schedule accordingly. So for this first week, you should be reading the syllabus, which fortunately, if you're watching this video, you can check that off your list. It's already done. You should read chapters 1 and 5 in Gruhl and Levy's text, and there are video lectures prepared for both of those as well. And I've included 2 supplemental videos for you as well to watch. These are just a really quick overview, just a couple of minutes long. Of course, go ahead and get the textbook ordered as soon as possible, either the 6th or the 7th edition. Does not matter. Rent it, buy it, order it online through Chegg, the bookstore, Amazon, whatever you want. Just make sure you get it as soon as possible. There is a quiz on this syllabus and all the things we've been talking about. There's a quiz due for that. There's also a pretest, and I do the pretest just to see what you know about marketing. Now, that being said, it will not count against you. It is not scored in a right or wrong fashion. It's a completion grade. So if you do the pretest, you get 100. If you don't do it, you get 0. But it's not going to count like, hey, George missed 10 questions, so he loses 10 points. That's not how it works. Okay. Please go ahead and introduce yourself to our class as well on the introductory discussion board. Tell us about yourself. What do you like? What do you dislike? What's your major? What is your student classification, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior? What chapter are you most excited to study? And you can see those chapters here. And I've included all that in the discussion board, the prompt, so you can read those and answer those questions. When you've finished all that, go ahead and take your quizzes for chapters 1 and 5, and you have a written assignment for chapters 1 and 5 as well. This sounds like a lot, but you will go through this very quickly, particularly these first 5 things up here will just fly by, okay? So make sure you are spending time on that. One thing you need to know, for the purposes of our class, the week opens every Monday for you at 8 o'clock, and it is due by Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m. Now, I typically send the email out to you very early on Monday mornings, sometimes late on Sunday nights, just to let you know what you're going to be doing for the next week. And you have the whole entire week to work on it until the following Sunday. So I personally, as a student, always liked to space things out. So rather than trying to squeeze it all in on Sunday, where you probably wouldn't do as well on your assignment, I would recommend spacing it out. So maybe read chapter 1 on Monday, read chapter 5 on Tuesday, and then watch the chapter 1 and 5 video lectures on Wednesday. And on Thursday, go ahead and do your quizzes, and Friday, do your written assignment, and space it out a little bit so it's not as overwhelming. And you tend to learn more that way too when you're spacing it out. So you can structure it however it works best for you, though. It is an online class, so you can pace yourself as you prefer. I want to go ahead and show you very quickly how to access our class. So when you log into iLearn on Tennessee Tech's website, you can see our course down here. I'm going to click on the 500 section. Here on the main page that opens up, you have a series of announcements. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a welcome announcement with a link to our syllabus. We've already been talking about this stuff now. Here I tell you some important stuff like how the class is structured and due dates. We've kind of covered that. Everything is due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. Always opens on Monday. Already told you you're going to read 1 or 2 chapters, do a quiz, watch a video, and then have a written assignment of some kind. I do strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to watch the videos. They will help you with your quizzes and your assignments. So please, 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 if you do nothing else, make sure you watch the videos. APA formatting. I do ask that you use APA formatting for all of your assignments. If you're planning on going to grad school, this will help you a lot since everything in grad school is APA formatting. That being said, I know that a lot of people may not be familiar with that. So there's a whole section here. If we go up under course materials and content, right here under general course information, you will see a link to APA formatting. And the Purdue OWL is a great source. If you're not familiar with APA formatting or you're just not sure how a certain rule works, you can always check out this link and it will tell you everything you need to know about APA formatting. There's a cheat sheet here if you need one. I told you that each week you have to save as a PDF, and there are instructions for doing that here as well under the General Course Information tab. So you have that available to you. And for the 2 external sources that you need, which you're of course citing using APA format, here's a link to the library database website, and then all of those sources that I was telling you about, the American Marketing Association, the Journal of Marketing, the Journal of Business Research. These are always great places to get information from, but if you click on these links directly, it's going to take you to that site and you're going to have to pay for those articles. So don't do that. Okay, this is just to let you know that these are here for you. You definitely don't want to pay for anything. So go to the VOLP library over here and you can search each of these databases. You can see articles from the Journal of Marketing. You can see articles from the American Marketing Association. So, and they're free for you as a tech student through the VOLP library. So make sure that you are accessing those correctly. As far as the assignments go, I did make a submission template for you, and this is just to help you kind of see how things are organized. So remember, every assignment you need 2 chapter concepts, those are the bolded words in your book, and you need 2 external sources, at least one of which should be scholarly, from a scholarly source. So I made this submission template just to make it easier on you. If you don't like this template, you do not have to use it. Okay, it's just there to help you. So here is one key term, here's another key term. Your 2 sources should be cited at the end using APA format, but you also should cite them within your paper using parenthetical citations. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if we go back, there is an example from a student from a previous semester. And you can see here with this template, here's one of the sources that she used, vendor managed inventory. She also used several other chapter concepts as well. Sorry, not sources. She used several other chapter concepts as well. You can see she's underlined VMI, but she's also used electronic data interchanges. And here's another one about limited assortment supermarkets. And she underlined the source, I keep saying source, sorry. She underlined the chapter concept each time that she used it. She listed her sources here at the end. And then each time she used a source, she cited it using parenthetical citation. So you'll see she has the author's last names and the year in parentheses. So you see that commonly throughout each time she used it. You should be doing that as well, citing it using a parenthetical citation like this, and including your references at the end. And she got this one from the Journal of Marketing that we're talking about. So, like I said, if you don't like this template, don't use it. As long as you have the 2 chapter concepts, the 2 external sources, and you have answered the question fully and cited your sources, you should get full credit, assuming that you've answered the question correctly, of course. So, just wanted to let you know about that. So going back down, We've talked about all of that good stuff. Okay. There's a section here about scholarly sources. If you're not familiar with those, you can read through this and kind of where to find them and that sort of thing. Here is everything you have to do for week one. So it just so happens this week you have 4 announcements with all of this stuff, but normally you only have one announcement. I try not to bug you too much, only when there's something important. But each week I always write out what it is exactly that you need to do step by step. So it tells you here what to do and in what order to do them. So read the syllabus, take the syllabus quiz, do the pretest, introduce yourself. Go ahead and read chapters 1 and 5. Watch the YouTube video lectures for chapters 1 and 5. There are Quizlets to help you study with that stuff and practice. If you like Quizlet, you can use those. Go ahead and take your quizzes once you've done that. And you may do your written assignment as well, the discussion board. So those are all here for you. I've included the links, of course, to the video lectures here, so you have those. And if you have any questions, you of course can reach me down here. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect in our class and hopefully makes taking an online class a little bit less overwhelming for you. So if you have further questions, feel free to shoot me an email at mtharrison@tntech.edu. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.